Yo, YouTube! Welcome back to another video. Today, I am going to be talking about my SMS method that I've recently been able to scale to over 15K a month using this exact system. Overall, this system is super repeatable, very easy to scale, and overall, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's very simple. It just comes down to the little details, which is why this video is being recorded. I have a ton of sauce to spill. That's just one whiteboard, and then I have another whiteboard over there. So I'm going to take you guys over there, talk about the actual system of what it looks like, then just kind of go into some breakdowns about, certain things to look out for and how to actually scale using this. Let's get into it. Okay, so welcome to the actual system overview. So obviously this looks pretty confusing right now, but I'm telling you, it's not that hard. So let's start with, let me set you guys up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is our time window. So almost like cold calls, these business owners are super busy. So there's only a certain window on which you can send SMS. For cold calls, that window is super small, right? Because it's in between work. You don't want to catch them during lunch, but you want to catch them doing admin stuff. For SMS, you can honestly send it throughout the whole day, which is great. So I recommend doing Monday through Saturday. You could do both, you can do the entire week. Do not do Sunday. I found it out the hard way. Business owners do not like to get pitched on Sunday, so don't send on Sunday. But everything else is game, right? Monday through Saturday. You know how much time that is? So much time. And the actual time, logistics of it, 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. I found does really well. So 7:30 a.m., people are, they're opening their phones, they're going to get text messages, they're going to respond. And then 3:30 p.m. is kind of the cutoff as far as, people wanting to just get done with work. They don't really want to, listen to new ideas. I found that this window works really well. So again, Monday through Saturday, you can send it every single day, 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. That's what I found works the best for me. Now, maybe you could stretch this. Maybe you could do 4:30 or 5:30. Totally up to you. Just test it out at different angles. Why not, right? Okay, so now let's say we are starting, let's say it's Monday, 7:30 a.m. We're ready to go. We're about to run the SMS. What is the next step? The next step is sending that first message. So that first message, now this is sauce. The first message should be, hey, is this business name? So they're immediately, this does so many things that people try to overlook. If you go right into a pitch, one, you're sending SMS to maybe a dead number. So this verifies that the number's even working, right? Two, it's establishing yourself as almost a lead. When you send an SMS, right, it's basically to the business owner thinking, oh my God, I have a new job coming through, or somebody wants my service. So they're more likely to respond to this than a pitch. So then when you go into it, they're a little bit warmed up. If you guys ever did Instagram outreach, you know that you don't send the pitch in the first message. Why would you do that? Spark up a convo with them. So what this does is it not only verifies that it's a working number, it also lets them to drop their guard down and wait for your response and want to answer, because overall this is a lead to them, right? They just got a new potential job basically. So, hey, is this business name? So the business name, obviously it changes to every single different name of the business that you're sending. The way to do that is inside Go High Level. It's called contact variables. So it basically will automate, and if you map your forms right, if you download the leads and then overall you have the title as the first name, you can do, hey, is this business first name or contact first name? That way it sends it as if it was the same message every single time, but it's called directly to them. So what this does, again, just to reiterate, verifies it's a working number, it gets your lead warmed up, and overall it just is sparking the convo, right? That's the main thing. So let's say Monday, 7:30 a.m., I want to send 1,700 SMS that day. What I'm going to do is I'm going to batch it up. So I might do batches of 100, maybe 150. So every hour it sends out maybe 100, right? So what that would look like is Monday, 7:30 a.m., 100 of these text messages go out. Hey, is this business name? Hey, is this business name, right? It's going to change to every single one. Now, that's 100 leads that we basically just contacted right there, cold, right? Obviously, they're going to respond because this is so enticing to them. So what that looks like now is we move into the workflow trigger. Okay, I hope you guys can see that. So We sent the first message, now we're waiting for a response. Once they respond, that triggers a new workflow. So basically this was something that you could do in a bulk action and go high level. Once you download all your leads, you select them all, then you send SMS, you do a drip campaign. Now you started the sequence, now they respond. That's gonna activate a new workflow. So basically you can have it be whenever somebody responds to this SMS, they get entered into the workflow. Now it's just about actually sending the second message. So the way to go about that is you wait 5 minutes. So once you send the first one and they say, yes, it is, or sure, how may I help you, right? They're gonna say something with, hey, like, yes, this is the business, right? Once they say that, you wait 5 minutes. You can wait 3, you can wait 2. Don't send it immediately, because then you're gonna come across as robotic, right? So you wait 5 minutes, then you send your second message. Now the second message is the most crucial part of this entire SMS blast, and it will make or break if you land clients through this way and you waste your money or you end up being a millionaire, right? So in the second message is your pitch plus your intro. So basically the way that looks is, hey, this is Griffin, right? I'm from the local area. I help businesses run Meta ads, Google ads, whatever your service you're providing, and it's then prompting them into a call. If this is worth your time, I could hop on a quick little 10-minute call with you. So that second message, you wait for a little bit so you don't become across as robotic. Then you go ahead and send the second message. Hey, this is Griffin. Introduce yourself, right? I'm from the local area. If you're scraping local leads, appeal to that, right? They're going to be more likely to respond if that's what you're mentioning. Then overall, talk about what you do. I help service-based businesses run Meta ads. I handle CRM stuff. I build websites. You could do whatever, right? Whatever you want to do. It just comes down to sending that intro, having that pitch, and then your call to action. If this is worth your time, let's hop on a quick 10-minute call. Or, my schedule's free this week if you want to hop on a call. Whatever it may be, right? Push for that call. So they respond to the SMS. It starts a new workflow. You wait 5 minutes. Then you send your second message with your intro and your pitch. Now, it's in their hands now. So what's the response is going to be? Okay, so now bear with me. This is a little low for me, so I might have to get on my knees. Pause. Now, what are their responses? So responses is huge. This determines if it's a warm lead, cold lead, dead lead, guy hates you. It determines everything, right? So you sent your second message in your pitch. You introduced yourself. You went and said what you do. Now you're prompting for a call. What are they going to respond? This is the fun part, right? So if they're interested, I'll talk a little bit about that because obviously it brings you to that. If they're not interested, they're not qualified. So then kick them the fuck out, right? Why are you keeping them in the workflow? Why are you going to... Don't text them again because you're just going to lose money and overall they're dead, right? Like what this is you're playing the volume game, okay? There's a reason you send out 1,700 SMS and only get maybe 2 or 3 meetings from that because you're playing the volume game, okay? But it's so important with that. So if they're not interested, they just get moved to not qualified and I never speak to them again. I never see them again. That business is now tagged so I don't ever contact them again. It's super important just to get them out of your workflow. Don't even worry about it, right? Now, if they need more info, that leads them into the manual convo. So if, let's say you send your pitch and they're like, okay, tell me a little bit more about what you do exactly. Or they dig into a little bit more about you. Take over that conversation. Don't automate it, right? Don't have these sequences. Just take it over, right? Now have a conversation with them. So what that looks like is you can have preset snippets. So if they ask certain questions about price, never say price on the SMS. So you can have a snippet that is like a price deflection. That's something so simple, right? Or if they ask for more information about your business, you can have a snippet that talks about that. So it's super seamless. You don't have to manually text the same thing over. It's more just a snippet that you can just quickly copy and paste, right? Overall, from this convo, right, it's really just establishing if it's worth a call or not for them. So push for that call. If you push for that call and they bite, we're going to bring that up to the setting call, which I'll talk about in a second. But if you are having a convo with them and you realize that 1, they're not qualified, 2, they ghost you, or 3, they don't want to work with you, go ahead and bring them over to not qualified. Don't waste your time with it. Just get rid of it, right? Add it as a tag as to never contact them again. Just don't even worry about it, right? You had a manual convo with them, you qualified them, and they weren't qualified. Get them out of there, right? Now, Let's say you had the response, right? And somebody said, yeah, give me a call. Or you had a manual convo and they were like, sure, why don't we talk about it on the phone? That's what you want to go. So now this is your bread and butter, right? Now it's just the setting call. This is what it comes down to. So the setting call is super important. You're dealing with warm leads here, so it's not that hard. It just comes down to setting qualified appointments for yourself. Overall, you can send 1,700 SMS and you can get a bunch of people interested. But the setting call is actually going to be qualifying them if they're a good client or not, if they have the money to spend or not, if they want to make a decision right now or in 3 months. So setting call is super important. What this comes down to is qualifying them. So asking them those pain points, getting them to uncover those things, and overall just seeing where their business is at. Is this going to be a good client to you, or are you trying to get some quick cash, right? Because consistent clients overall is what you're looking for. So you could have monthly reoccurring revenue. But if you sign a bunch of low ticket clients just because they were a little bit interested and maybe they end up signing for what, $200, $300, you're doing so much more work and charging so much less. It's just going to bottleneck you. So setting call is super important. I would much rather have 2 qualified meetings and 2 of them close a week rather than 30 meetings and only 1 closes, just because it's so much more time out of my day. I'm making so much less. I could be doing other things that are needle pushing. Overall, qualify, 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 okay? That's what the setting call is for. So understand their niche, understand their budget, understand their location. Is this going to be a good client to you? Okay, that's really what you want to think about. Then from there, it's framing the Zoom call. So I say there's a couple things in there. I say Zoom because it's the older generation that you're talking to. When they hear Zoom call, they are more inclined to go to that call rather than let's hop on a quick meeting, because overall, it's just the psychology of things. COVID messed everything up, so they think Zoom call is now the most formal way of talking to these people besides meeting up in person, right? So frame the Zoom call. This is super important and has bottlenecked me for a long time until I realized that I was setting the calls wrong. I would frame this as a discovery call, and I would see if they would be the right fit. And then overall, I would send them over a scope of work, I'd send them over a contract and never hear back. I was chasing these leads for months. But then I realized if I frame the call better, and I say, look, let's hop on a quick little Zoom meeting. I'll see what you're currently doing. I'll see what I can do for you, and we'll make a decision on that call. We will make a decision on that call, right? Frame the call as they are going to have this pain point that I'm going to solve for them on that meeting, right? So instead of just framing it as, look, let's hop on a quick meeting, like we'll see if this would even work for us. No, frame the call, right? They're going to make a decision on that call. So when they go into it, you want to make sure that that's what you're setting the tone for the call to be. And the way to do that just comes down to saying the right things, telling them that it's an investment, right? And understand that if they want to work with us and fix this pain point, it's an investment into my service and also ad spend, right? So if they push back about that, yeah, I'm not looking to spend right now, boom, hang up the phone, dude, move on. It's the volume game, right? You're going to have a lot of setting calls that aren't going to go through, and that's what you want, right? You want to qualify them. That's what it's for, okay? Then the next part is booking the meeting. So obviously you go through the setting process, the qualifying process, you ask them those pain points, you uncover them, you slowly transition to let's hop on a Zoom call. It's a 4-figure investment, right? Whatever it may be. If they're still going forward, so they're qualified and such, book that meeting, right? Okay, so now we're booking that meeting. So basically what I do is I use Calendly. I have a bunch of different sequences in there, which goes ahead and nurtures them. So once they book the meeting, this is, you just did all that work. Now you want them to show up, right? You want a good show up rate. So what comes with that is your meeting nurture sequence. Meeting nurture sequence. Up until the call, getting them warmed up, getting them excited to show up to the call, getting them to see the value of actually dedicating time towards you and hearing you out, and overall setting yourself up for better show rate. So the way that I do that is I book through Calendly, and I have SMS reminders, and I also have email reminders, and then I have warm up resources. So when I book through Calendly, it sends notifications through their SMS and their emails, up until the call, 24 hours before, 12 hours before, 3 hours before, 1 hour before, 10 minutes before. I want them to show up to the call, and I want them to remember that they have a call. And then what I also do is I pair Calendly with Go High Level. So once my Calendly goes, my Go High Level gets activated, where then they send up, reoccurring emails. So in those emails, I drop case studies, I drop links to my website, my LinkedIn, whatever social proof I can do to overall warm them up for that call, so that my closing call is way easier. They're going to show up, they're going to know who I am, they're going to know what services I offer, and they're going to be ready to close. It just comes down to which email should I send the invoice to, right? So warm-up resources is something that's so important. You want to give them something where they can look at, they can watch a case study of a similar niche, they can overall get really warmed up until the call, so they know who they're talking to, they know what services I provide, they understand that it's an investment, and they're ready to fix that problem that they have because I'm the solution, okay? Now it comes down to the closing call. Now, this is the fun part, right? So on that closing call, right, if they show up, if you did all this right, then, get that contract signed. Get that contract signed on the call. If they push back for that, then overall book a follow-up meeting. So obviously closing call, that's a whole nother realm. If you want to watch my sales video, watch that. I'd go like way more in depth about how to actually structure those closing calls. But for right now, right, once you do all this work, it just comes down to your closing process. So what I do is I either get a contract signed, I either get an invoice paid, or I book a follow-up meeting. So I don't let anybody just dangle around. I don't let anybody just, oh yeah, I'll hear back from you in a week, right? Like, oh yeah, I'll look it over, I'll come to you with a decision. They're never going to come back, right? So get something on that call, whether that's a contract signed, whether that's an invoice paid, and last resort is book a follow-up meeting. So if they still push back, if they say they have to talk to their wife, and you try to handle that objection, and they're like, no, then overall, you can book a follow-up meeting. So say, all right, yeah, I totally understand. Let's check in 2 days from now. Like, what's your schedule look like? I'll put something on the calendar. We'll touch base then, and that's where we can sign the contracts or whatever it may be. So super important you get some type of confirmation on that call. Again, if they're not going forward with it, if they're not qualified, get rid of them, dude. You're playing the volume game, right? There's more to come. So don't take it as a loss. Just realize that you're one step closer to that warm lead, right? That closed job. And then my last little note here is rinse and repeat. This system, all of this was just one lead. Now think about if you send 1,700 for the time block of Monday through Saturday at 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. This system will have you booked out for months, literally months. If you do all of this right, there's no way in hell that you don't get at least one closing call a week, which somebody closes, right? It just comes down to the volume game, which is why I'm breaking it down like this. Now, I'm going to go ahead over to that whiteboard and kind of break down some logistics side of things. Okay, welcome to the other whiteboard. Starting off with requirements. So this is more like the logistical side of actually running this SMS because, yeah, the system is pretty seamless and it seems easy, but there's some back-end stuff you got to work out. So some requirements. You need Go High Level. So I send everything through Go High Level. That's the CRM I use. Maybe you can use other CRMs. I suggest get Go High Level. Really good. It's a monthly subscription, so be prepared for that. You need a local number, and you need to be A2P verified. Overall, you can send SMS from a toll-free number or a number that's not the same area code, but you're going to get a better response rate if you buy a local number and you scrape local leads and then do it around that area. It just makes sense. Then local leads, like I just talked about, scrape the local leads, buy a local number, and overall your response rate will triple. Automated workflows. So there's obviously some back-end stuff that you're going to need to do. So the whole nurture sequence, all that stuff, I've built out. That's automated. You can still do manual stuff. It just might take you a little bit longer. You can't do the volume in which I'm sending at. So it's going to take you a little bit longer. And then Google Sheet Tracker. So this is huge. If you don't track this, then what are you doing? You're just going to be in the middle of nowhere. I've been doing SMS for almost 8 months now, and I've tracked every little thing. And that system has took so much refining and little tweaks and changing the messages and learning that the local works better. Like, this did not happen overnight. And the only reason I'm still in this position where I can send so much and have so much success is because I tracked everything. So now I'm at this point where it's completely working for me. I have built everything out. It's completely in the back end. I have 2 setters. I barely even open up the SMS anymore just because I tracked everything and I refined it on the way. So track your data, super important. Overall, you're gonna be able to test, how much is your cost per shown meeting? How much are you sending a day? It's super important you track everything. I use Google Sheets, super seamless. You can build it out, you can automate it so it automatically sends stuff. Overall, that's really what it comes down to for requirements wise. Now let's talk a little bit about overview. Okay, I just want to reiterate some things. So again, go for the local leads and the local number. You will have the best response rate. You will have the best response rate. Everything, you're going to have way better success if you do local leads in your local number, okay? This SMS replaces cold calling. You're doing all the cold outreach. It's so much better than cold calling, like so much better. And overall, it replaces cold calling. But you can't just jump from this. You can't just jump from no clients and no outreach experience to this. Okay, so this is not like a shortcut. You can't take shortcuts. You still have to cold call. Okay, you have to cold call to learn those skills so that when you have a warm call, you overall are confident on the way that you speak to these people. You know the right things to say. Don't try to replace cold calling with this before you actually cold call, if that makes sense. Do a couple of weeks of cold calling, then scale into this. Okay, it's a volume game. So the more SMS you send, the better chance that somebody comes through. So overall, it's a volume game. Start smaller so you get the system down, and then overall scale. I send 1,700 a day almost every single day. There's some days where I literally have to turn it off because I can't handle the amount of meetings I have, and that's a good problem to have. But in the beginning, it's just about finding those right people. So volume game, super important. It's completely automated for me right now. I could send SMS and I could take a nap and I'd have 5 meetings booked for me because it's that good, right? And then it's repeatable. I mean, you could do this for anybody. You could do this for any niche, it doesn't even have to be marketing. It could be website building. There's so many different things that it's just so repeatable. And you learn so many skills in this. You learn about funnels, the way that people act, the way that, you handle a warm call. It opens so many doors for you. So it's super repeatable. And I'm at the point right now where I could send SMS upwards of 3,000 a day and I'd still be good because it's so repeatable, right? Which is really the huge volume with it, and you can scale so easy. On the topic about scaling, let's talk about scalability, okay? So it's repeatable to other areas and other niches. So let's say you try all the local areas around you, the local towns. Why don't you broaden that out a little bit? Use that same area code, but now target your entire state. It's just gonna be the same exact feedback thing. So it's repeatable to other areas and other niches. So let's say you do the same exact scrape, but you target different types of people. Maybe one blast you do HVAC. The next class you do flooring. The next class you do roofing. It's so repeatable and you can do so many different niches and overall scale into the best niche that works because it's a volume game, okay? So it's also hands-off. Like for me, I barely have to do anything right now. In the beginning, it's pretty hands-on, but right now it's pretty hands-off. So that means I could focus on closing in all my current clients, okay? So I have this outreach system running for me. All I have to do is hop on the meetings and close them. That means that I could focus on the closing calls and have that be my main focus and also focus on my current clients so I still have that monthly reoccurring revenue, which is going to bring in case studies, referrals, get my name out there, have that money where I could then spend it on more SMS, paying my setters, paying for more employees. It's so scalable, but it comes down to that hands-off part, which is why you have to automate it in the beginning, okay? So there's no shortcuts. You also have a really large window. So not just daily, weekly. You have Monday through Saturday. You have 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. That's so much time for you to have these warm leads. You would be stupid if you didn't get one booked meeting a week, at least. Last week, I spent around, I think, $114 to send almost 5,000 SMS. And from that 5,000, we had 22 meetings booked. And my cost per qualified shown meeting was $8. And signing whale clients. So something that's like overlooked with this is you can uncover a couple whale clients. The other day, we pitched this guy around like $40,000 and he was making, I want to say like $300 million a year. He's franchising his entire company. He really wanted the back end marketing. We pitched him $40K. We're waiting to hear back, right? So you can sign some whale clients. If you're running paid ads, you're calling out to that specific ICP. There's no way in hell you're going to get those crazy clients just because you're calling out exactly who you're calling out. With SMS, you don't know who you're texting. You could text somebody who's broke or you could text somebody who is top dollar, right? So signing whale clients is a huge possibility, and that's overall the bigger contracts that you want to hunt for because this is going to make everything a lot easier and your current clients are going to scale down because you're going to have this one guy covering all that speed. So super important. That's kind of the scalability of it. That's the overview. That's the requirements. That is the local SMS method. Okay, so that is the SMS method. Basically explained, the whole system, how to actually scale with it, and overall how to utilize it to the potential that it has. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions about this, feel free to DM me. I answer all my DMs. You can pick my brain about stuff, and overall I'm here to support you guys. So let me know if there's anything I can help you with. Let me know if this video was informational at all. And if there's something else you want to see me go into, I can do that too. So leave a comment below, leave a like. overall, I appreciate you guys watching, and as always, let's get out of the rat race.